Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to ShootOut. There have been so many Premier League game weeks during this Christmas period that we've missed a couple, but I will just say right now, Eunice is currently absolutely tonking, steamrolling, train wrecking me right now. In the points, it's 61 to me, 74 to Eunice with a 13-point lead. The fixtures for this weekend are on the screen. Big Eunice, mate. Congratulations. Even though we're not getting loads of points, you're still getting loads more than me. You're killing me. Absolutely killing me.
I don't want to be arrogant with what I'm saying, but it's true. I think I'm the special one.
Mate. I think you actually might be at this point.
I had results come in, and I got to be honest. I remember watching those games and thinking, "I've bloody got this." And I thought of you. So I'm very sorry, and I'm afraid it's only going to continue.
Well, I'm not going to be boring.
As I grin,
I'm not going to say boring because then everyone will turn the video off. But I feel like I might be just very smart this week. You know, just very like whispering. Yeah. I've got a few hints and tips from certain teams that certain teams will not turn up this weekend. When I say they'll turn up, but they're just not going to play very well. I think this is going to be the final weekend of the season. Goals galore, mate. I'm honestly thinking goals galore. What are you thinking, Eunice?
What if the same tips that you have are the same tips that I have? Huh? What if?
Maybe.
We'll see.
There's only one way we're going to find out. Let's see what you think first of all. You can have the first prediction as you're currently in the league. Luton Town versus Chelsea.
Well,
mate, please don't tell me after Chelsea have lost the most matches of any Premier League team in 2023, surely we don't end it by losing to Luton.
Bloody hell. We've lost the most amount of games out of everyone in 2023. Bloody hell, man.
In the Premier League, yes.
What's happened to our football club?
Breathe.
Mate, listen, we're starting off at home, obviously, because you and me are Chelsea supporters, and we are the early kickoff, which, by the way, I find weird. We played on Wednesday. We're playing first thing on Saturday afternoon. Anyway, there's that. But I'm not going to take that in too much because we have a pretty light schedule, so I shouldn't really, complain too much. But anyway, I am looking at this game as I got to be honest, as a potential banana skin. And I am looking at it from that perspective because I am actually more concerned with Luton at Kenilworth Road, right, at Luton, instead of Palace at home, who we did just beat and got the job done 2-1 with a late penalty. I was more, confident in that game than I am to this one with Luton. Why? Because Luton, at home against big teams, some might argue we're not a big team, but I think we still are, by name at least. So anyway, but against big teams, Luton just show up at home. Away from home, not so much. But at home, it's a tight pitch. It's a raucous atmosphere, even though it's a very low attendance, but it's still raucous and it's all very intimidating and in your face. And they've done it against Arsenal, Liverpool to an extent, Man City they took to the wire, Newcastle they beat, but they do good jobs against the big teams at home. And this is why I'm looking at this and thinking, I think they're going to be up for it. It's that time slot, 12:30 on a Saturday lunchtime. It's that time slot where anything happens. And I just think the writing's on the wall here. I just reckon Poch is probably going to do something outrageous in terms of selection again, in terms of his lineups, in terms of his his game management mid-game, where it goes crazy and his subs don't make sense. He doesn't play fullbacks in fullback positions. I see this as a potential Luton victory and a banana skin for Chelsea. But what's your thoughts? And I'll give my prediction.
Score prediction first.
Oh, so, all right, cool, yeah. Cool. All right, fair play. I am honestly... okay. I hate to say this, but I reckon Luton 1, Chelsea 0.
Okay, I thought you were going to start saying 3-1 or something then. No, do you know what I think is the craziest thing is, right? Luton are in the relegation zone, but everything you just said makes so much sense. Chelsea have lost their last 4 Premier League away games in a row, I think it is now.
Yep.
But I do think you've got to pay attention during this Christmas period to the amount of games that not just Chelsea have played, but Luton as well. And for that reason, I do think it could be one of those where the quality that Chelsea have in our squad, despite it being a very disjointed, I'm just visualising this in my head, I don't think it's going to be a great team performance. I don't think it's going to be that coherent. But I'm going to totally go against your score and say Luton 0, Chelsea 1. I think we'll just somehow do enough to get it over the line.
Fingers crossed.
I reckon it might be like a Disassi header or something. Like just a bullet header in the 78th minute or something like that. And then we just hold on for dear life. Petrovic makes a big save at the end. I don't know what it's going to be. But I think Chelsea are going to get the result. Palace versus Brentford. What do you think about this? It's such a sad start to the video that you've predicted Chelsea to lose, and I actually want to agree with you so strongly. Like, it's kind of just like, I need to reinvigorate myself here. Tell me that Palace-Brentford is going to be a battle between probably the two worst form teams in the league right now. Brentford have lost 4 in a row. Palace haven't won in their last goodness knows how many matches. Both of these two are desperate. Does that mean it's like a festive cracker that comes out here as both teams look to try and punish the other?
Weirdly enough, I actually reckon this is probably going to sound bizarre, but I reckon Brentford are probably going to be a little better suited than Palace here. And I say that because Palace, and we just saw Palace against Chelsea, right? Palace need to, respectfully, I like Roy Hodgson. I think, he's class, and what he's done in his career and his life is brilliant, and fair play to him. But it's over, right? Respectfully, he needs to go and put up his feet. He needs to chill. He needs to, the game against Chelsea, he was on the bench, didn't move once, and at one point his hand was trembling. And I'm just thinking, mate, if Palace keep losing games, this isn't going to be good for him, right? So he looks like he's happy to be there. There is rumours that they're going to get Steve Cooper in anyway. It's a matter of time, and I think that's probably going to cause instability for Crystal Palace. That's why I look at this and think Brentford have the higher chance of getting a result. They've not been good at all, though, Brentford, recently, and people would probably think that's the reason for a draw. But I'm actually, I reckon Brentford are probably better suited than Crystal Palace. Even though Palace have good individualities, Olise and Eze and Ayew and Mateta, and they've got great people going forward, but it's just individualities, it seems. No cohesion and no actual system that's going to help Palace get over the line. So that's where I honestly, I don't think it's going to be a good afternoon for Crystal Palace, if I'm honest.
I think you might be right, mate. I also think the score is going to be 1-0 to Brentford. I don't think there's going to be enough quality on show. Brentford have been conceding a fair amount of goals recently as well. I'm going with a Brentford win. I think they can turn this around. I'm more confident in them turning their form around right now than Palace. I wasn't impressed with Palace that much at all, even at Stamford Bridge. What is your prediction for Palace versus Brentford?
I'm going 2-1 Brentford. Late Brentford winner.
So we're both going with an away win. Manchester City versus Sheffield United is the next game. When you look at this table right now, Chris Wilder's come in. There's not really that much that you could say. He got a good result against Aston Villa. Give them that. They almost won, ending that incredible run. Manchester City, good result for them away at Everton. Very tricky place to go. Everton would, in fact, be higher than Chelsea in the league if it wasn't for the points deduction. So for me, this is an absolute no-brainer. Manchester City are going to score a fair few here. I think they could absolutely fill their boots. This could be the highest scoring match of the season in the Premier League, in my opinion. What are you going for, Big Eunice?
Mate, Man City, I think, have come back with a bang. They've won the Club World Cup. They've come back and they have found no one has taken advantage of the situation. And this is where Man City, who were slipping up, are now looking at everyone going, you had your chance and you blew it. And we're back, and we're going to destroy all of you now. And this is where I think they're going to come at Sheffield United as collateral. Sheffield United, I'm very sorry, but you guys are the first ones in the way where Man City are going to, just, I think, absolutely wipe the floor. So I'm going 4-0 Man City.
Okay, I'm going to go one more and say 5-0. I wanted to say something outrageous like 7-0, 8-0, but I'm 13 points behind here, okay? The probability of a 5-0 is so much higher than the probability of a 7 or an 8-0. But just in case we come back next week to the predictions, I wouldn't be surprised if there's at least 8 goals for Man City in this game.
I wouldn't
just
be
as
shocked.
Like a little side note.
Yeah, I agree.
No,
I agree.
Villa versus Burnley is the next one. This is actually an interesting game here because Burnley are not really in great form either, but they're playing a bit better now than they once were. And this is a real test now for Aston Villa as to whether or not they can sustain anything here in this title race. Christmas comes along, games every 3 days. They've only got 1 point and they've given away a 2-goal lead at Man United, which could be catastrophic for their season. However, I don't think it will be in this one. I think they'll do enough. I'm going 2-0 Aston Villa at home to Burnley. What are you saying, Big Eunice?
Claret and Blue derby, one of them at least, because there's West Ham in the mix too. But Aston Villa, Burnley, this I think is going to be straightforward. Aston Villa at home, and when they're at home, you just can't play. It's simple as that. Yeah. Away from home, Aston Villa look suspect, and they were winning against United the other day, and then they let it all go. Credit to United for that as well. But I honestly think at home at Villa Park, Burnley definitely not getting anything from this game. So I reckon it's going to be a straightforward afternoon. I'm going 3-0 Aston Villa.
Okay. That is a big result for Aston Villa, 3-0. Wolves versus Everton. Now, Wolves are in a bit of a run here. They want Christmas to happen every single bloody day.
Yep.
This is massive. This actually could be a really good game, you know.
This could be.
Wolves are level on points with Chelsea.
Yep.
Everton are playing good football, and they are out of the relegation zone now, but they've lost their last 2.
Yep.
So, is this going to go with the form book? Wolves have won their last 2, Everton have lost their last 2, or could this just be one of those freak results in the middle of the Christmas period? What are your thoughts?
Wolves, I think, could be quite motivated for this. Everton, I think, were unfortunate. They came in Man City's way the last game and they were winning 1-0. It was just a matter of not being able to defend that result. The Sean Dyche plan was going to plan before it crumbled, and then Man City took advantage. So I reckon Wolves right now have improved. They have looked good, especially since beating Chelsea. And then they got the result to Brentford, destroying them very quickly in that game. This one, it's weird. I've got a feeling like they might cancel each other out, but I can't help but think that maybe Wolves just keep this going. I've got a weird inkling that with the way that the table is, Wolves will be looking at this and going, we've got a chance here to catch Newcastle and start entering the top half of the table, which would be unprecedented for Wolves. So they've got an extra spring in their steps, and I think that's what's going to help them. That's why I reckon, and I don't normally go against Everton here, but I reckon Wolves will just about nick it at home against Everton. So I'm going to go 2-1 Wolves.
I'm going to say exactly the same. This is the one fixture that I look at and I'm like, I just think in my head, this is a 2-1 home win. I think Wolves will do absolutely enough to get it. Forest versus Manchester United next. I want to talk a bit about Man United here because Man United, unbelievable, by the way. That second half, that was phenomenal.
That was.
They literally came out at the start of that second half against Aston Villa and they're like, we're getting the piss taken out of us here. We are getting our pants pulled down and proverbially, whatever you want to add to the end of it, do your thing. Make it your own. Let us know in the comments. No, don't really do that. But Aston Villa were very good in the first half. United were absolutely diabolical. Second half, fantastic. And I think that is going to be why I've got a feeling that Man United kick on from here. And I think they're going to go to Nottingham Forest and win the game 3-1. Let us know your thoughts, Big Eunice. What do you think?
3-1 United. You know what? Look, I'm going to be honest. Credit to United for that comeback against Villa. But I think that's all we're getting from them this season. And I think it's back to rogue, normal settings for Man United. This is where we bring out the banana skin again. And I think Nottingham Forest, with Nuno now, who I don't rate, if I'm honest, in the long run, but they've got a bounce going for them at the moment. They beat Newcastle convincingly at St. James's Park, albeit Newcastle, I think, physically are absolutely dead. They are finished. They can't even run anymore. So they will be dipping into the market. But I reckon Nottingham Forest at home are going to take advantage of a complacent Man United team who think that they're back because of that one result against Villa and think that they're the bee's knees and everything that they've had this season will go in the past. I don't think that's the case. I think United will slip again. I'm going Nottingham Forest to beat Manchester United narrowly 2-1.
Wow. That's massive. That is absolutely massive. Fulham versus Arsenal is the next game, which Fulham at home... I'm looking at the league now. They've lost their last 3 games here, Fulham. But I just can't get out of my head those 5-0 wins that they had And I'm looking at Arsenal, and like, if you watched the previous video that we posted earlier today on ShootOut, you should check it. We'll put it as a card on the screen. Link also in the description. Arsenal, not that impressive, but I do have a feeling that they will bounce back at Fulham. What do you think is going to happen here in West London? Big Eunice.
Yeah, I'd like to think that they bounce back as well. You know, Arsenal will win games. Come on, that's it. You know, they lost to West Ham. They will win games. I think they will lose some. They're not going to win as much as people think that they're probably going to win, and that's where I argue Arsenal won't go all the way. But I think against Fulham, Arsenal should bounce back. I don't know if it's recency bias that's telling me maybe this is going to finish a draw, but I'm going to go with logic here rather than that, and I think Arsenal will beat Fulham 2-1.
2-1. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a 2-0 Arsenal win. I think they will bounce back. I think there will definitely be an onus to not allow that result against West Ham to filter into anything more.
Yep.
Spurs versus Bournemouth. I mean, like, this could be anything, bro. Like, I'm really looking at this game thinking
It could.
Tottenham Hotspur 4-2 against Brighton, carved apart. Bournemouth, I watched them the other night. I thought they were absolutely brilliant. They're won
incredible.
Their last 4 matches. They really are brilliant. Like Dominic Solanke, I saw a shout here about Chelsea in need of a striker.
Yeah.
Please give a call to Dominic Solanke. What do you think about that for a start?
Are you doing this as well? No, listen, and shout out to Miz, the other side of the coin. He was saying the same thing, and he's like, Solanke, bring him to Chelsea.
It's not a bad shout.
And I'm like, as much as I would wish that could happen, right? And Solanke would be the guy. He's a Cobham graduate. It would be great if he were to come in and just start banging in goals. But I'm worried that it could just be a nice spell of form for him, and then eventually it just dips. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
we'll see how it goes. Give him the rest of the season. We'll see how it finishes, and then we can make a judgment, I reckon. But so far, so good for Solanke and for Bournemouth. And the way that Areola is managing them is just... I don't have any more good things to say about Bournemouth, if I'm being completely honest. The way that they play, the way that they've transformed, the results that they're getting, they're super efficient. Everyone's on the same page. Tactically, they look fantastic. In terms of the team and the way they move together for each other, fantastic. I'm shocked, honestly. For Bournemouth, I'm actually surprised, very surprised, and they're killing it at the moment. And they are in for a shout of entering into the top half of the table as well, just like Wolves. They've won their last 4, and they have a chance to now jump over a couple of teams, Chelsea included, unfortunately, if Chelsea were to bottle it this weekend. And that is where I look at Tottenham, what they've got exposed at the moment. And is a bit crazy tactically. He just goes all guns blazing, doesn't really care about consequences. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Could Tottenham slip up again?
Bro, I think that there is a big possibility here that Bournemouth win like 3-1, but I also have a sneak feeling the Spurs might do them. So I'm going to go straight down the middle here and go Spurs 2, Bournemouth 2, which I think is a good result at this point for both teams. I don't think it's a bad result for Spurs, and I think that's a great result for Bournemouth at a place where they probably shouldn't still expect to win despite being in this form that they're in. What are you going to go for?
I've got to be honest, I understand what you're saying, and I would normally agree, but I just can't help but think that there are holes in that Tottenham team at the moment. And Bournemouth, weirdly enough, I wouldn't put them as the team to do this, but right now they're playing like it, so I'm going to stick with it. I think they're going to be the ones to exploit. And collectively, they're a proper unit. They're hard to get past, and they're scoring goals. And I think that's where they are going to beat Tottenham 3-2.
Wow. So the goals galore again. This is incredible. Big Eunice is pulling out the gigantic predictions here as this video is going on. Forest to beat Man United. 3-2 win for Bournemouth at Spurs. Incredible. Liverpool versus Newcastle. Surely... Newcastle are obviously then, as if we're going by based on recent results, Newcastle are going to go and end their bad run. It's been horrifying. Eddie Howe, he's on the verge of the sack, mate, isn't he? Surely, with results like that, massive club, Champions League football, you can't be losing every bloody week, can you?
Mate,
what do you think's going to happen here?
You know what's mad? Look, I think Eddie Howe's done a tremendous job overall. Yeah, fair play.
Yeah, so I was joking, really. But
no, 100%. And I do understand that, yes, they will have to make a change. If Newcastle want to develop into a top club and take themselves to the next level, respectfully, it's not going to be Eddie Howe that's going to take them to the promised land. He's taken them as far as he can, and he's done a brilliant job. I think that is it, though. And it doesn't help that Newcastle have the circumstances that they have. Tons of injuries. They've had to play Champions League football for the first time in ages. They're not used to that schedule. Players fall in. They're all dead. They can't run anymore. So Eddie Howe can only do so much. But Newcastle need to transform. I think that will come. But for now, I do think Newcastle are simply just out of minerals overall. And I think that's where Liverpool at home, I look at this fixture normally and think this is going to be a tight game. I just think Newcastle are dead. Physically, they're dead. They can't do more. They need to go into the January market and see what they can pull out there. But up until that point, I think it's going to be an easy win for Liverpool. So I'm going to go Liverpool 3, Newcastle 1.
I'm literally going to do the same. I had a feeling, the more you spoke there, the more I was like, I've already wrote my result down for this one. I normally do it just before we go into the next one. I write it down on my screen. And then sometimes I change it if Eunice says a certain score. But like, for whatever reason, 3-1 Liverpool at Anfield for this game just seems to me like the right result. I think Newcastle will score. But I just think overall Liverpool have so many chances. It could be more, but I'm going with the 3-1 as well. West Ham versus Brighton. These two teams are going to be probably the most hyped teams in the Premier League right now. Yep. Like West Ham went to the Emirates and won. They're 6th in the league. They're going to be looking at this thinking, hang on a minute. There's actually a top 4 race that we're involved in here. Brighton also, despite it seeming like they just fell off they fell off the pedestal months ago, they're still only 7 points adrift of 4th. They're only 3 ahead of West Ham and only 1 behind Manchester United. So this is actually a really big game between two teams having good seasons. West Ham very good, I'd say. Brighton good. I have no idea what's going to happen here, but I just do have a funny feeling that West Ham at home, and I think this could be, I don't know if, is Kudus already gone to AFCON?
No, not yet. Not yet. So he will be going shortly.
This will be his last game.
I think this will be his last game. For a lot of the African guys, I think this is the last one. Yeah.
I'm going with a 2-1 West Ham win then. And I'm doing that because I think Kudus is going to be like, look, I'm going away and I'll see you guys in a bit. And when I get back, you better be in the top 4. I think that's what's going to happen. That's what I'm going for. You're
not wrong. Brighton, like I said in our last video, took advantage of a Tottenham team that didn't help themselves tactically, and Brighton picked up the pieces beautifully, took control of that game and destroyed them, right? I don't think it's going to be the same at the London Stadium against West Ham. And West Ham, in a bit of a run, looking good, 3 wins on the bounce, above them and looking to push on. Kudus is still there for now. I think that's going to give him an edge as well. So I reckon it's going to... I want to say 2-1 as well. 2-1 West Ham.
2-1.
I was going to say more, but I don't feel like Brighton will concede that much. So I'm going to go 2-1 West Ham as well.
Fair. All right. That is 3 results, I think, this week that we have predicted the same. Yep. I don't know if this is me just like... trying to be more like Eunice. You know, it's like one of those things where in the morning I wake up, I look at the scores, and I'm like, I'm 13 points adrift here. I want to be a bit more like Eunice, so I'm just going to predict the same results as him, and then I'll be closer to the goal. But it's looking like it could be a fascinating weekend once again of Premier League football. This is the final predictions of 2023.
Yep.
It's been your year, Eunice, I think. I think we have to give that to you right now. It's been your year. In the first sort of half a year of Shootout, you have absolutely dominated the prediction. So I just want to take my imaginary hat off and say, well done. Congratulations. I'm coming for you in 2024. That's going to be my year.
I want to say thank you very much. I appreciate it. And no, you're not.
And on that note, we're almost at 25 minutes of recording. So we're going to wrap this one up here. Make sure you check out the previous video earlier today where we talk about how North London has officially fallen after Arsenal and Spurs were beaten yesterday. But we can't look back too much because, well, as you see, we got more games to look forward to. Any last words from you, Big Eunice?
No, except make sure that you are here for our reaction after it's all said and done. And let's see what happens this weekend. So bring it all on, and thank you for watching. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And we'll catch you in a bit.
Up the Chelsea, mate.